At this hour, there are a few delays out at the airport to know about. Right now, 31 delays, 3 cancellations. Just a good reminder to check your flights before you go, as we expect more storms later on today.
And I actually just hit refresh and that number jumped even more to 63 delays, 5 cancellations. Very important you check that. New overnight, a man is hurt after being shot in the back while at a gas station in Aurora. Police say it happened around 10:30 last night near Potomac in Mississippi. The man was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. There was no information about a possible suspect. Aurora police are asking anyone who might know something to call Crime Stoppers. Also at this hour, we are following breaking news in Lakewood. Police say a sergeant shot at 2 suspects early this morning. Courtney Yoon joins us live near the area of West Colfax and Teller this morning. Courtney, no one was hurt in the shooting.
Yeah, good morning, Corey and Jordan. And that's right, no one injured by that bullet fired by a Lakewood sergeant, but 2 men are now in custody with police custody at Lakewood after that shooting here. Police just left the scene here at Colfax and Teller, but let's take a look at some video of what this scene looked like just a couple of minutes ago. This is what Public Information Officer Paul Oskell said happened around 1:45 this morning. 2 men were in a car driving up and down Colfax Avenue, shooting off Roman candle-like fireworks at homeless encampments. A sergeant in the area noticed a fight between a homeless person in the car when someone on the side of the street threw a rock at the car. That sergeant saw the vehicle do a U-turn and thought the 2 men were going to strike him, according to police. Oskell says that's why the sergeant fired 1 shot at the vehicle, which is now still sitting behind, or which was actually just taken away from the scene here at Colfax and Teller. Let's listen into what police had to say about the incident.
There's 2 individuals in this vehicle just right behind me, and they were shooting off, it seems to be like Roman candle type fireworks at individuals on the side of the road. One of those individuals on the side of the road picked up a rock and threw it at the vehicle as it was driving westbound on Colfax.
Again, no one was struck by that bullet and no one was injured in this incident, but 2 men are now in police custody. And the Lakewood police tells us that Jefferson County will be taking over the officer-involved shooting case. Back to you.
Courtney, thank you for the update.
Right now, there's an arrest warrant for a former Colorado State Patrol trooper accused of stealing more than $100,000 in government benefits. According to court documents, former trooper Colin Doherty and his partner Lindsay Stafford have been fraudulently claiming benefits for 3 years. Documents say it started when Stafford applied for benefits, saying she lived alone in Monument with her 3 kids and no income. In reality, she was living with Doherty. Investigators say Doherty also made a 6-figure income at the time, and they were using the government benefits to make big purchases. Doherty has resigned from CSP. They're both facing felony theft charges. Today marks 11 days until Denver will swear in the next mayor. The city is planning an inauguration on Monday, July 17th. Mayor-elect Mike Johnston will be sworn in at 10 a.m. that day, becoming Denver's 46th mayor. And an update this morning, former GOP congressional candidate and attorney Brad Dempsey is now the interim CEO of Tattered Cover. The book company, established in 1971, currently has 10 locations. Dempsey will oversee the day-to-day operations and will focus on addressing immediate financial challenges. He takes over for former CEO Kwame Spearman, who stepped down for a brief run for Denver mayor. Spearman, however, still remains an investor and is now currently running for a DPS Board of Education seat. New this morning, Colorado nonprofits are taking on the rise in book bans. Our Anusha Roy is following the story for us this morning, and Anusha, organizations actually now pivoting their mission to combat these book bans.
Yeah, they're saying they were left with no choice based off of the landscape. So if you look at the American Library Association, it shows right now there are 17 attempts to restrict access to books in Colorado, 56 titles challenged in total. That's up over the last decade when you compare it to just 16 titles that were challenged in 2013. This is following a national trend. The American Library Association was making headlines when they said 2022 had the highest number of attempted book bans since they started compiling data 20 years ago. Most of these books are either written by or about the LGBTQ+ community or people of color. They're being challenged for being explicit, profane, or for depicting abuse. Deb Stallings is working with a group called Hope in a Box. They equip educators with LGBTQ inclusive books and curriculum. And Stallings said what's at stake here are students feeling safe and included. Before, Stallings said it was all about fundraising and buying books, but now they're having to pivot. Oh, unfortunately, we should have had some sound from her, but she was talking about how they are now working with community groups and religious groups to come out with different services and programs, building it outside of the schools and really having to kind of reimagine where you can have access to that curriculum and that literature. She also said that typically it's a smaller number of people working to ban most books. If you look at Texas, there's 93 attempts to restrict books, but that actually adds up to more than 2,300 titles. And in Florida, there are 35 attempts to ban books, and that adds up to 991 books being challenged. According to the Library Association, almost a third of those bans nationwide are brought forth by parents, 17% by political and religious groups, and then 15% by boards and administrators. I did reach out to groups who are known for trying to ban books here in Colorado. I am still waiting to hear back from them. They have previously told us their efforts are centered around making sure parents know what materials and books their kids can access.
And we know, Anusha, that last year saw the highest amount of bans and attempts to ban these books. Are these newer books, older books? What are we looking at here?
So I was looking at the top 13 books that were banned and when they were published, and 3 of them are relatively new, published in 2019 and 2020. Another 5 published between 2012 and 2018, so they've been around for a bit. And then the remaining 5, some published as far back as 1970 all the way through 2007. So at least 10 out of the 13 have been around for at least a couple of years.
Well, those numbers give some context around it all, because you're hearing book bans everywhere, but really it's just a small percentage.
It is a small percentage, but what happens is it's brought forth with like a school district or a library, then that question, that book is under question. Is it still on the shelf while it's being debated? Has it been pulled? And then the conversation and the rhetoric itself also can have that impact.
And that's what ends up getting amplified that a lot of people hear about, and that's where some of the negative impacts happen there. So Anusha, thank you for following that for us this morning. Mile High trending this morning, Meta is taking on Twitter. The company's newest rival app, Threads, now taking off.
Brianna's diving deeper into this for us. And Brianna, another social media app to download now.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have all heard about it. Thread. We know this is only adding to the growing social media feud between billionaires Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Thread is basically a mashup of Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And the launch came at a perfect time for users, as Twitter is setting new limits on users. So the growing rivalry between the two might even get physical, with rumors still floating around about a potential cage match. You heard that right. So their battle for microbloggers is the prize fight of the moment.
This fight is about so many things. This is about users. It's about money. It's about ideology. It is about power.
Now, Thread allows users to log in with their Instagram handle, opening the potential to have a built-in user base in the billions. Thread also allows characters per post, more than Twitter, and also longer videos.
Now, a lot of the question is, Instagram is typically a bit of a happier place. You know, that's kind of where you post those happier moments versus Twitter. As we know, it's not always the way.
You have Twitter fingers.
So, yeah, exactly. So people are kind of wondering, is this gonna, kind of corrupt the Instagram that we know and love today? Are people going to try to get politics and everything involved?
Yeah, there's still a lot of unknown about Threads. A lot of people are, asking what's going to happen. How is this going to work? Is this connected with my Instagram? So there's still a lot of questions. I mean, I just downloaded it yesterday because I wanted to know what was going on.
I refuse. I cannot download another social media app. This mom is busy.
It's hard to keep up.
Can't these billionaires just get along?
I know.
Guess not.
Now they got a cage fight coming, apparently.